Okay, hello everyone. Today we're going to go over Eden and how to go from knowing close to nothing or nothing to making a mission. So the way that this tutorial is going to work, I'm going to start with my archive of, as you see here, this is all of my scripts. I also have a Google Drive with all of my scripts listed and pictures of how to use them. Um, Today we'll be going over all of the scripts that I consider drop in place, which essentially means that you set it down and it works. There are a couple nuances sometimes where variables have to line up, but it shouldn't be too bad to find out because it will spawn, say, a table and a marker right next to the table. You double click on the table and it says find marker 5, and you click on the marker that it spawns next to it. Just make sure that it says marker 5. We'll go over that here shortly, but just getting an idea of the scope of this video. Once we're done going through my mission creation templates, we will then use this to make a mission. And I will make a full mission trying to intentionally use everything that I know, and hopefully make this as exhaustive as possible. I will also have comments down below in the description with little bookmarks, so if you need to come back in the future, you can come back and just really quickly skip to it, and then you can learn what you need to learn, and then you can go back. So, without further ado, we're just going to start here and work our way across. So, these are the player bases. I believe Cyber's coming out with a video here soon to discuss how to make these, but essentially you just drop them down and you check this checkbox and you fill out this role description, with this being the header and this being the description for it. So these are all in 1.3 here, 1.2 here, and 1.1 here. Now, if I double click on them, you will see that I can also enable them as medic, engineer, explosive specialist, etc. So if you've ever wondered how people have medic slots, these checkboxes are how people have medic slots. You would just simply have a row over here, but instead of being named Jackal, it would be named Medic, and then your medics would spawn in there. These are the game masters, so this is a module that you tie to it by going to modules up top, game master, drop it down, right click, connect, sync to the player. Now we already have them there, and that will sync to the player. Let's see if I can connect, sync to there. And then this line means it has a connection, and this person will automatically have Zeus when they spawn in, and it will be under Cyber at command. So under the player base it'll say command, and then it'll say Cyber. So that is the player base. That's how you make a player base, and you change what they are wearing, and what they're wearing here is what they will spawn with. Okay. This is just a different player base, different ranking structure. I like to keep these and build off of them. I find it a lot easier to do it this way than to build them from scratch each time. So, moving on, these are the lighting scripts. So, essentially, if you've ever wondered, wow, I hate that at night Arma, all the power for the whole country just basically goes out. This will spawn a light bulb at the base of the tip, and then it will emit light only downwards, so it's not like a radiating bulb, it's a downward facing bulb like in real life, and it casts shadows. It mostly respects walls as well, and yeah, it really brings the map to life. You have one to use on first floors and then one to use on second floors and above, just because of the way that the script works differently. It also has a IR light, quote unquote, light bulb as well. So when you put your NVGs on and you look at this, it will white out your nods. And again, these are drag and drop in place. You would just copy this. It already has all of the code built into it, and it will just work for your mission. So here we just have different iterations. This is a first floor light with a actual light bulb housing. And here we just continue on downwards. These are actually vanilla assets. This asset here is what inspired me to do the project. It works very well, especially for larger areas. I would say use these for smaller areas and use these for larger areas if you want to do realistic lighting. These are just more of different shades. So this is more of like, you know how when you go to the hardware store you have two different types of light bulbs. You have the like natural light and then you have the harsh white light. That's the difference between these two, and then we just have different versions of lights. I have this saved as a composition, so whenever I want to do my mission lighting, I just drop this in next to the area I want to have it, and then just copy and paste them into my mission. Works really, really well. This is a medical shower, so you would just drop this in, and it will heal the person, and it will also trigger the decon shower animation, which is this. Essentially, it turns these water spigots on and makes it like an actual shower. Has audio that plays with it. This is all vanilla assets, so it will just drag and drop in place. You can have people take showers for medical. If you have a lot of volume, you can make something like this, where you have a medical tent and they can walk through it. Again, I will be planning to give this mission to anyone that is interested, so you can just take these, make them into compositions, which we should probably go over now. Say I want to make this medical tent a composition. I would go to multi-person, custom, and then at the bottom you'll see this little icon right here. It's very small. Notice it's grayed out. It's because I have to highlight something. So I'm going to highlight this, and now we can click it, and you would fill this information in and hit OK. I always put all my stuff in forest. No clue why. It's just what I started doing a long time ago. So it's what I typically do. You can put it in whatever category you want. Now, if I were to want to spawn this in on a mission, which we'll show later as well, I would just search medical under multi-min, customs, pre-op medical tent, drop it down, you're done. That's how most of these scripts work. This helipad, now it's actually the trigger. The helipad has nothing to do with it. You could also make this for a vehicle depot. This rearms and resupplies. I will say sometimes this is not working on servers. Don't know why. I have to look into it. Sometimes it just bugs out. But I've also had a lot of times where it does work. So if you're going to use one of these, maybe take two of them and layer them on top of each other so that hopefully one will work if the other doesn't. But it is there for you and can save you a lot of time. This vehicle here has unlimited ammo in it. Again, all these scripts can be found in the Google Doc, as well as I can give this mission out to those who want it. This Jeep has unlimited fuel. Just showing this real quick. Man, it's taking a long time to load. This has unlimited fuel in case you want to have an AI drive in circles for a mission, like maybe a patrol around a city. This flagpole is for halo jumps, so if they interact with this flagpole, it will automatically put them really high up into the air, and it's at this map marker here, and we'll put them in the halo jump animation. It does not give them a parachute. So typically what I'll do is I will have a box here with parachutes. They'll grab a parachute and then they can go. The reason is because we use the backpack on chess mod. And the backpack on chess mod is very immersive and we like it. This script would overwrite that, so I do not have that. I also think it's pretty immersive and just a cool experience to have them put their parachutes on. This disables all environments, so crickets, frogs, any environmentals. This is really useful for, say, if you want them to go into a cave, which we'll talk about custom caves and things like that. You don't want them to go into a cave and they're supposed to be super far underground and there's like crickets everywhere, things like that. It just kind of breaks out of the immersion. Also, if you're running in a forest and you want to do an op brief, it can be really annoying to have to talk over the wildlife sometimes. And they're just like always in your ear while you're making your kits. This can just help it. I like to use these in my my mission start areas, just so that people don't have to listen to that for 20 minutes while everything's getting together and the brief's happening and stuff. Okay, so this is Seb's briefing table. It is a mod called Seb's briefing table. If you have the mod, this is just simply copy and paste this in. And as we said earlier with the marker, so look for marker 91. Marker 91 is here. Marker 91. This is marker 92. And if we come here, table 1, table 1, 92. Just make sure everything matches. This will give you a scale replica of anything inside of this. So say you have a town, you can put this marker over the town and it will actually project a scaled down replica here and make it look like it's made of paper mache and things like that. It's really cool for like special forces style missions where you're wanting to show instead of tell. So we have two types of tunnel entrances. We have blink. This one will, when you interact with this, it will blink you. It looks a lot taller than it is. For some reason, this one puts you like 5 or 6 feet under. So, but it'll blink you up here, and then you interact with this, and it'll blink you down here. Now, this is more of a natural interact. So this one actually fades the screen out to black, and then blinks you, and then brings the your screen back to normal. So it's almost like a fade out of consciousness for like 2 seconds and then a fade back in. It looks a lot better and it feels a lot better. But there may be certain scenarios where you want them to blink, and so you have both options. So, custom caves, custom assets. This is going to be pretty important if you want to make fobs, if you want to make really anything. So for my cave side of things, this is my build a cave area. And for my fob and other things, I have all of the walls in the game listed out and categorized by Western, Eastern, military, general, things like that. And typically I like to build my custom stuff here. So, to give you an example of something that I built using this, we can do underground. Might help if I'm actually in the right thing, wouldn't it? You notice in the forest, it's under forest. I just put everything under forest. So, I built this in about 20 minutes using these. Essentially just used a dirt path and used the dirt path to kind of trace it out, and then built around that from using the different rocks, and then after that laid in some railroad tracks, and then after that used all these props and things like that to fill it out. And so you can just see, you can also see that it's a bit of work in progress. This is for a future op that I'm working on. This was done in about 20 minutes. Now, it's obviously not the right height, but you get the idea. You can, if you lay everything else out first, then you start building, you will be so much faster because you have everything out in front of you. It's like, imagine Legos, right? You build Legos a lot faster if you have all the Legos out in front of you first, and then you start building instead of having just all of them buried in the box, and every time you need a piece, you're just sifting through the whole box trying to find pieces. It will save you hours of building time when you make custom stuff. So, that is the mission creation template walkthrough. Hopefully that was helpful, and we're now going to transition to making a mission. Let's go open. script. Shouldn't take too long to load. Okay, so we have loaded up our mission. So the first thing that you want to do when you make a mission is first figure out what type of mission you want, and then comment it out. So the way that we comment, so I have start here for example, is right click, place comment, and title it. And then you'll see it puts a comment down, and you can comment out your mission. Very, very important because it gives you clarity and you're not just fumbling around. So, you see here I've got a whole bunch of comments, so we're going to start here, and then we're going to move to the Heli LZ, and then go there, and then secure the town. Pretty easy mission, but I'm going to try to add as much as I possibly can to it to show you everything. So, first, the next step is after you get your comments and you're happy with them, we're going to put in markers. So I'm going to go to the markers tab, and then you have all these markers here as well as area markers for, say there's a missing person and you want them to investigate within this area because he's somewhere there. You can also, the alpha is the transparency, so you can now see it's almost completely gone. So we're going to start here, so I'm just going to do circle, and we'll call it red just for transparency, and then start. And then I'm going to copy that with Control C and move it to here. Control C to copy that text. Highlight this, Control V to paste it into it. Now, it's important to note, when we publish the mission, this is only able to be seen in Eden. Once we publish the mission, once it goes to the server, all these comments go away. But now that we're actually putting in solidified comments, I don't really need them anymore. Just know that you don't have to delete them. They will not be shown. So then this is just going to be objective 2. And this is going to be objective 3. We'll call this Secure Town. Secure Town. I wish I could type. And then we'll call this Raid, Cave, and SSE. SSE basically means search for loot. Okay, so now that we've got that, we need to make our mission start area. So, I've got a couple comments here. Let's see, ZEI interior fill. So this is a mod that I would recommend you have. And ZEI interior fill allows in Eden and in Zeus for you to go here, and then you can select military or civilian on most buildings, as well as the level of detail. Defenses only is just like sandbags on the roof and on the sides. Full means actually put stuff inside of it. So we're going to do full. Okay. And now you can see I just saved myself half an hour of work populating this. And now instead of having to do all the work, I can just simply take this and maybe push it against this wall, and take that and push it against... Ooh, look at there. Arma doing its work. So, if you ever have bugs like this, where it's bugging out and things like that, what you can do is you can toggle off vertical mode and toggle off snapping. Now, they do things separately, but most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, I either have both of these on or both of these off. So we're just going to kind of push everything off to the sides. We'll just kind of give it what it gave us. Turn this. Cool. And then, what was that? Barrel. Now, vertical snapping means you can see I can push it into the ground. But if I turn them on, it respects the ground. So that's the difference. Okay, now we're not going to interact with any of this stuff. So I don't want the server to constantly be checking the physics, right? I don't want it to be saying, okay, should this plastic case be moving right now? Should an explosion jar it off the table? Should someone be able to shoot it and it explode? Also, you can see some clipping here. I don't want this ammo box to be clipping into this by an inch and then blow up when the mission starts. I just want it to be a dumb object for cinematic purposes only. So the way that you do that is you highlight, and you can highlight everything, or as much as you want. Right click, attributes. It's going to take a minute because it's a lot of assets. Special states, disable the enable simulation, uncheck it, and then make sure simple object is checked. And they will now turn with these little red squares. That means they are now simple objects. They are basically dumb props that the server will not do any physics on. So if this building were to come down, then all of these would still just stay the same. They can't be moved. They're indestructible. It saves on server load. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to go over is making simple objects. No wood windows. Okay, so this is actually important. So ZEI Interiors likes to put these windows in, just like this. And it looks really cool. The issue is the AI can see through them. Take it from me, I've had a couple bad instances where the AI have just killed entire teams. You want to make sure these windows are deleted. So just make sure that they are deleted so that, you know, trying to save you some headache. Also, you'll notice none of these are simple objects. They really should be. So I'm going to make these simple objects like that. Okay, so now our players, let's see, object fill. Okay, so for this table, for example, say I don't like the stuff that's on this table. So I'm just going to delete all the stuff on this table. I don't like how it looks. Okay, and now I'm going to use object fill to fill the table. So I can fill it with any of these things. I'm just going to fill it with medical supplies, and we're going to call it 100%. And now we have medical supplies on that table. You'll notice it also automatically made them simple objects. And then for the next one, we'll just do tools at 100%, sure. And now we have tools. A really quick way. So again, we're trying to be efficient. We want to spend time on our missions where people will notice, and not a lot of time where people won't. What's on a table, people will pay some notice to, but not completely. Now, obviously, this is a bit extreme. You want to have some balance with it, but these tools help out a lot. So, object switch as well. Say I have this on this table, and I'm like, wow, don't really like that. Instead of deleting it, finding an asset and putting it back there, I can use object switch, and I want to switch with the woodland one. Oh, it grabbed that. Interesting. Cool. So it works by radius, just so you know. This doesn't have an alternative. I thought it did. But this is black. You can change it to desert. And you can see that it has a radius. So I don't know if this will work, but we're going to try this impromptu. This is getting down later. If I put this down, and then we go to ZEI object switch, everything within 50 meters will now be woodland. There. So you can change it based on the theme. So say you have a composition that you really like, but someone has made it jungle theme and you want it to be desert theme, you can use object switch to make it desert theme. So that's really nice because you'll notice a lot of times in your compositions especially here if I do command, for example. Nope. Let's see. Let's try Bob base. Yeah. So here we have military desert, military woodland. If I find something in desert that I like, I can just change it to woodland with object switch. Okay. Moving on. CR object switch. Do not use the garrison building module. It's really bad. Honestly, vanilla Arma's garrisoning system is better. ZEI has a garrisoning system. Just don't use it. So now, we're going to make an arsenal because we need our people to be able to get their kits. So I am going to set down an object. I like to use the cargo asset, but you can use actually anything in the game. You could use a soda can if you wanted to. And we're just going to set down 2 objects. That sounds good. And the way that you make them ace arsenals in Eden is you double click, let it load, scroll down, ace arsenal, expand it, and set it to blacklist. Do the same here. Cool. Now we have arsenals. Those are now full ace arsenals. And that is how you make an arsenal. Player base. So in order to make a player base, we need 2 things. We need a player base, and we need a respawn point for the players to spawn at. So as you saw in my player comp, I already have one. So I'm just going to take this and drop them down. It does not matter where you drop them. Just don't drop them down in water where they could drown, and don't drop them anywhere where your mission might be so they could see them. These virtual spectators, I've never really gotten them to work, but the way that when they do work, they are essentially Zeus, but you can't spawn anything in. You're just literally like this here. You're a camera that can watch and can take pictures and can zoom around. They can work, they are just a little bit buggy. So typically what I do instead is I just give a guy Zeus and tell him not to spawn stuff in. But that is what the Ace Virtual Spectator is. I'm not going to go over it because I have had problems with it in the past, and I don't want to put anything in here. I'm trying to make this as surefire as possible, this tutorial. So now we need a respawn. So respawn position, and while I'm here I might as well set up the mission as well. We'll do that after. Respawn. Give it a name. Mission start. This is what people will see when they click on it as an option. Type infantry, blue 4. This is show 2. We always play as blue 4, so it doesn't really matter. Disable notification. If you don't disable this, every time someone spawns in, the whole server will get a notification. Always make sure that's disabled. And now, while we're here, we'll just set up the server. So attributes, general, put in a title, video thing, and a picture can go here. That's for a different, more advanced tutorial. Always check required DLC. There is no downside, so why would you do it? And make sure binarize, binarize the scenario is unchecked. This is how the green 4 tend to be. I always put them on friendly to both sides, and then in Zeus, when I'm ready, I change them hostile to whoever. That way you don't load in a mission and have like immediate issues. It's easier to change it in Zeus after the fact. Environment, this is the time and date. If you want it to be a night op, just set it to nights. Important note, when you set the date, you'll see here I have a dark moon, and here I have a full light moon. This does influence your NVGs and what your NVGs can see. If you want video game NVGs, pick full moon. If you want somewhat more realistic NVGs, pick dark moon. Now, you can also go into your server settings and change all your NVG stuff to be the way that you want it to be, but you need to be aware that the moon is a huge factor. So if you make all your NVGs the way that you want them to be, on a bright moon and then you go to a full, no moon, it's not gonna be the same. So just be aware of this. This is one of the biggest questions that we get is like, why are the NVGs fine now, but they weren't, the out before? It's because of the moon. Mission makers, make sure that you take care of this, and you need to test your mission under nods to make sure that's how you want it if it's going to be a night out. So that's important. And then you've got fog and everything else. Multiplayer. Game mode needs to be set to Zeus for 99% of the stuff that you guys do. What did I name it? Video thing. This doesn't have to match. Actually, you don't even have to put anything if you don't want to. Disable enable AI. We don't want to play alongside AI. We want to play alongside friends. Respawn on custom position. Select respawn position. I changed these to 5 and 10. It doesn't matter how long they are. Just make them not 0. It will break the server if they are 0. So just make them whatever. This is infantry waits 5 seconds before respawning. Vehicles wait 10. I think that's pretty much fine. Okay. And now that that is done, this could play. We could put this on a server right now and it would run. However, we are going to make a full mission. So, we're going to have a helicopter. Typically, I like to do... So, my methodology is I make missions for fun. And I don't make them with the intent of running them in the future. I like to do as much in Zeus as possible because, to be blunt, it's just easier. It just is. I'd rather spend half an hour in Zeus tossing it all in than an hour and a half in Eden making sure it's all fine and then having to debug a small error. It's just not worth it to me. So, they will be landing here. Also, we will be having a tutorial as well on Zeus. It will be a full rundown of how to set up this mission right here in Zeus completely. So, here we have our first objective. So, first we're going to go over the edit terrain module. So say I want this building here destroyed. Why can't I? Man, my typing is just all over the place today. I don't know what is going on. So now I can have, so you'll see it snapped to it. You can see it snapping to it. And then hopefully you can also see the purple line that's making a box around this. So it's identified this object. And I'm going to set it to destroyed. You can also, if there's doors, you can set every door into it in the place as locked, open, unlocked. And now you can see it's destroyed. Compositions. Lifeblood of our mission making. I like to take multiple compositions and combine them together. So if we just say we're probably like in the Pacific, so we'll say military Pacific, fortifications and bunkers, bunker system, just put that somewhere. Circular bunkers, watch outline, field HQ. Cool. So I like to take these and mix and match to make what I want. So we're going to take this and we're going to put it kind of like that. Move those out of the way, that out of the way. Don't need those, don't need that. Actually, I could like make a line here, and that would look pretty cool. I'm not going to spend long on this. I'm just showing you guys how I like to combine things together. So, cool. This looks cool. And then we'll just have this kind of cut this corner and reinforce this. And then don't need you. I'll take you and put you here, and then I'll take you and put you there with a watchtower here. Cool. Okay, so just like that, we made this. And you saw how fast that was. Now imagine, I mean that was what, 2 minutes? Imagine if I was to take another 20, right? You can use compositions. I like to spawn in, a lot of times I'll spawn in 15, 20, and I'll have them all over the place, and I'll just, you know, take and drag, take and drag. It's just like with the virtual arsenal, how I said I like to have everything in front of me and then start working with it, and then if I need to add a few things, like, you know, a couple tidbits that I've learned about over the years, like, you can do that. So now I want to make a lot of this stuff simple objects. I don't want all this to be server objects, because it's going to lag the game up a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of it, right click, attributes, let it load. It's a lot of objects. Disable, enable, like we've talked about before, and it does all of them. Now here's the thing, this building is now a simple object. It now can, none of the doors can be opened because it doesn't have any physics, and a door opening has physics. So we need to make this have simulation so that the doors work. Also, it's empty. Let's fix that with, as we've already discussed, ZEI. Interior fill it, boom, done. We've now filled that. And isn't there a floor below? Yeah, and we filled this. Cool. Not the best thing in the world, but, you know, if it's not a main objective, then you just save yourself a lot of time. And you can take those, what I like to do as well, say I want to ZEI, I want to fill that in for like a story mission. I'll take these, interior fill, go. They don't have a, well, I mean it's a military building, that kind of makes sense. Cool. Now I have all of these different iterations to work with, and I can pull from all of them to make something. It at least gets me started, right? And they're all going to be somewhat different. So, I don't know why it wouldn't let me unset that. So, okay, moving on from that. That is compositions. Again, compositions can be found in Multiman, props, and then you've got all these here to search through. This is from Steam. That's the difference. This is through Steam and anything custom that you've ever made, and this is from vanilla. Also, some mods have compositions. You can see Cup is in there and things like that. Okay, so compositions done. Cave system. So I am going to make a cave system here, and so what I'm going to do is find an airport and cave, let's see, let's do mine. Okay. I don't think I have the entrance here. Let me think. Okay, for simplicity I'm just going to use this one. And the reason why I'm putting it at an airstrip is because, mistake. The reason I'm putting it at an airstrip is because I want it flat. I want it to be fairly flat. So, abandon mine. This isn't the exact script that I have. I've taken his script and changed a few things, but this is this guy's script off the workshop. You can see it's got the little Steam icon there. This guy's script off the workshop mine is very heavily inspired by it. I pretty much took his and refined it to do what I wanted, so it'll be good enough for this. I'll also say, man, without the workshop, a lot of the coding and stuff that I've learned and worked on and gotten would just be, I couldn't have done it. So Steam Workshop, awesome for learning code. Best way that you can learn is I have a problem, search for it on the Steam Workshop. Once you get your solution, take the code apart and figure out how it worked and learn from it. That's basically what I've done. Cool, so we've got that, and then we have an entrance here. These are in the composition, the Zeus composition that we talked about. You'll notice that I disabled snapping for this, and it's because this is not a perfectly level surface. It's a pretty level surface, but it's not a completely level surface. This helps get rid of a lot of that. Now, if this was a normal mission, I would go through all of this and kind of fly through it. Hit backspace, by the way, to turn off all the assets, and then you can kind of zoom through your mission and look at stuff. It looks like, so in Eden, it doesn't respect the grass. So you'll notice I have a hide grass. This is called hide terrain objects. It's right here. Hide terrain objects. And it hides whatever you want to hide. However, Eden doesn't always respect them, but they will be on the server. So you can see we're getting rid of 19 trees and 171 pieces of grass and 33 walls. So we're getting rid of quite a lot. But in Eden, it doesn't get rid of it. So that's why you see it there. But yeah, this looks pretty good. As I said, I'd go through here and just make sure everything looks really natural, adjust some things manually. But you'll notice also everything is a server object. And that way it doesn't kill frames. So, cool. That's done. Next, I need to take the entrance, which again, my variation of this can be found in that file, as well as examples, and all of the code is in the Google Drive as well. So you don't even have to have my mission. You can just rip all the code out of that. And then I have pictures for every step of how to set it all up. But really, it's just drag and drop, honestly. That's the easiest way to do it. So again, we've got this snapping turned on, so it doesn't really know what height we want it to be at. I'm just going to kind of bury it here, I think. I think this is going to look cool, at least for what we're doing, which is rough and just trying to get it done. Oh, just barely. Does that look okay? Not really, but you get the point. So we have a cave entrance now. Is there anywhere else I can do? Let's see. Just want to spit just a sec. Okay, so we'll ignore. Here, we'll just do this. When you got a mistake, cover it up, right? Dirt. Dirt pile. Dirt pile. Dirt pile. Look at there. You got a mistake, cover it up. There you go. Look at that. And of course, I'm going to make this static, and we're done. So, let's back up just a hair. Yeah. So this invisible wall right here is what the script runs through. This has all the script in it. So you just want to make sure this invisible wall is in front of here. So, now that that is done, we are going to move forward. Actually, we should probably test it. We haven't done any testing yet, so before we move on, let's do a quick test. So the way that you would test it is put down a man, right click, play as character. Now you don't have to put the Game Master thing on them, especially if you're using Ace at least, which most people do, but it would save you a step. So since I didn't do the Game Master module like we said earlier, I'm going to have to do Ace, create Zeus, and now I have Zeus. Alright, first let's check The door's locked. Okay. Need to see. Oh, the door's locked. Okay. Can I... Hey, look at there. We can kick it open. That's the breaching mod that we have. Okay, so we can check these. These are indeed Ace Arsenals. Nice. Got all these objects here. That looks good. And now, again, we will have a Zeus tutorial coming soon, so I'm not going to elaborate too much on the nuances that I'm doing within Zeus. There will be an exhaustive tutorial coming soon. So we come here. We've got the base looks good. I want to make sure that these doors open and close because remember we changed everything to simple objects, and then I turned this building back off, and this building does indeed open. That's cool. If we come to here, we have the cave. Enter the mine. It fades us out. It fades us in. We are now in the mine. If you pull up the map, you'll see that we are now at the airport, because that's where we put it, because that's where you get the most flat terrain. And then we come back out, exit the mine. And now we're back in here. And that is how you make a cave system type mission. Again, I'm kind of glassing over a lot of the code and things like that, because, well, this video would be significantly longer. So, before you ask questions and things like that, I would recommend you at least take some time to look over the code, and then we can talk about it. I will also say some of this stuff I just don't really know how it works. There are people that are better than me that I got their code off of Steam, and I stared at it for long to figure out how it worked, and I changed it to meet my needs. So, okay. So now that we've done all of that, we're going to now work on Lamb's Garrison, Lamb's Camp, and Lamb's Patrol. I will say this. Lambs in Eden can be finicky. And by finicky, I mean, well, it's not finicky at all. You just have to be very deliberate about what you do. So, if I go to Middle Eastern Militia, and I go to Infantry, and we just pull this EOD squad, and I place them down, these guys will now spawn in when the mission is loaded. However, they do not have a task. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Modules and type Lambs. Lambs is our AI mod that we use. And I'm going to go, and I want them to garrison this building. So I'm going to put the garrison module down on this building. And I am going to set the exit trigger as random. You can set it as anything. I like the randomness of it. I think it gives it some more a more genuine feel. And then a dynamic patrol basically means it will have 1 or 2 people patrol around the building. Teleport means instead of them spawning here and walking into the building, they'll just instantly teleport into it. So I'm going to go ahead and do both of these. And then I am going to hit OK. And you will see that it made this giant circle, and it will garrison these people into any building within this circle. Well, I don't really want that, and so I'm going to change it to 15 and 15 under transformation, and you'll see the circle now got a lot smaller. If I were to load the server like this right now, it wouldn't work, and it wouldn't tell you why. That is the most frustrating part about Lambs. You have to right click, connect, sync to the guy in charge, which is the guy that has the little diamond above his head. If you miss a single one of these sync twos, this blue line, if you miss a single one, your mission will not load, and it will not tell you why. And you will have to go through every single unit individually, or group individually, and figure out what happened. For that reason, I'll be honest with you, more than half the time I just lay these guys in Zeus, because you don't have to deal with it. But sometimes you got the time. Also, a little life hack. Control Z to undo, by the way. Little life hack. You can, once you have one done and you have triple check to make sure it's all great, you can highlight, Control C to copy, paste, and just put the just put the little shield over the building. So that's what I like to do. So if I were to garrison this, I would just do this. Now, I would probably use different units to make it have some variety, of course, but you get the idea. For speed's sake, I'm just showing you how fast you can actually make a mission. You can make a mission. If you know the shortcuts and you know the keybinds and you know the hotkeys, you can make a mission very fast in Arma. So there's a full mission right there. And now that we've already done this, we might as well do this one. Won't take long. Just do one there, do one there, do one there. Just kind of want them to grab all that. Okay, and now it's done. Now with this one, I kind of want them to sort by height because I want more up top like they're guarding it. And so I'm going to do sort positions by height. It will fill all of the highest positions on the garrison first, and then it will start working its way down. Cool, I'm not going to worry about the factory tunnel. I will say, if I do factory tunnel, so in order to break this guy, you can see how he's attached to his leader. In order to break him off, you hold control and just peel away. And then control, peel away. And if I want these two guys to be in the same group, you would highlight them both, hold down control, and send one to the other. And that's how you do it. Now, if I'm doing a mine or something like that, anything that is custom, really, and is complex like this, the AI will get confused. It's best instead to drop them in and turn off their ability to move and move in path, and then use Zeus to control them, or just have them kind of stand there and, like, you know, do simple actions. But if you have them, where am I supposed to be? If you have them move around, they will run through the walls and do all sorts of craziness. So what I like to do is just go to, where's it at, special states. I actually don't remember. I most of the time do this in Zeus. Actually, I always do this in Zeus. I have actually forgotten that. I'm doing this in one take, so. Okay, well, I have forgotten how to do that. So, I like to do it in Zeus. In Zeus, you just double click this guy, go to traits, and then, or abilities, and then there's a checkbox that says move, a checkbox that says path, and I turn those off. That'll be in the Zeus tutorial as well. So I'm going to save this just in case, and then just in case something weird happens to this, I'm going to also save a backup, because I have had many times where my missions have corrupted, and I was supposed to have backup. So we got all this done. Notice these guys don't really have anything to do. What I'm going to do now is go over the next limbs, which is patrol. So if I put down a patrol, I want to double click on it, and then you can either have it be dynamic, so it just makes up its own. I think this is pretty cool. It basically makes a like random pattern. And then dynamic reinforcement. This will essentially, they have radios, and when someone needs help, they'll radio them, and then they will just automatically come. I like to have that on as well. So we got that, and then connect, sync to there. And then I like to double, quadruple check that it's there. And now we're just going to do the same thing we did before. And this is going to be our patrolling units. Now, you'll see they're patrolling a really large range. So I'm going to undo this. And I'm going to come to here. And we're going to change this from a 200 meter by 200 meter patrol range, which isn't unreasonable, but I kind of want them to stay contained. So So you'll see that's their patrol range now, which is still fairly big, but it's not too bad. Cool. So now we got a bit of a patrol going on as well. And then we'll put some here. Again, you don't have to do this in Eden. You can do it in Zeus. In fact, over half the time I probably do it in Zeus just because it's just as fast and you don't have to worry about anything. But this is cool because if it does work, you just load in and your mission's good to go. There's no waiting on like Zeus to make the mission. The mission's done. Awesome. So now at this point, you could just play the mission. I'm not going to spawn at the cave again because we have bad guys there. I'm going to spawn back here and then we'll look. Hopefully I didn't miss a connect, because if I did, this isn't going to work, and oh, that'd be embarrassing. But I use copy and paste on everything, so it should be fine. I didn't use camp. I'll use camp as well, but it's really simple and doesn't really have. It works the exact same way. You just put the camp module down, and then they'll sit around in a circle and talk, basically. It's exactly the same as patrol and garrison. I may show that here in just a minute. But let's look at this first. Okay, so if we go here, you can see it's lagging quite a bit because it's spawning in the whole mission all at the same time. And then we can look and see what's going on. So these guys are walking around, just chilling. These guys have now garrisoned in here. These guys have garrisoned the top. These guys have all garrisoned these bunkers. Cool. We've got these guys. You can see the waypoints. All these guys are patrolling around. And then if we come here, these guys are all now inside of the buildings that we assigned them to take. I don't know why I'm there. That's funny. And yeah, and you can kind of see basically the mission's done. And then, you know, we got a patrol there and we're good. And all these patrols are set to dynamically reinforce. So if they take contact here, all these two-man patrols are going to converge. And all of these guys that are set as random, if they get shot at, sometimes they'll ungarrison. If a bullet hits their building, they'll ungarrison. They only ungarrison if they get wounded. They're all set to random. So even the mission maker doesn't know what they're going to do. Remember, we set the dynamic patrol. So now we have dynamic patrols just patrolling each of the buildings that they're garrisoned outside of. And yeah, it just feels very natural and very fluid. And this is a mission. You could run this. This is a full-on, you know, 10 to 15 player mission, like easily. Of course, you'll need to have Zeus. We haven't gone over a couple of Zeus things that are very critical to mission making, such as global AI skill, things like that. But that will be coming, like I said, in the upcoming video. So, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you learned something. And hopefully this will help those who want to get into mission making see that it is not this huge daunting task. You can do it. I just showed you how to make a full mission in, I don't know, 45 minutes. Probably less than that. So, okay. Well, thank you all for your time.